Okay, boys and girls, so we're going to be checking this worksheet that you completed yesterday. So it's the one with simple compound and sentence combining with those on the back. You need a checking pen and a highlighter. We're going to take a look at how to fix each of these. You really need to pay attention to your directions on this worksheet. Bob hates peas. Cheryl hates peas. Our directions say combine using a compound subject. Well, that makes sense because if you look at it, we have Bob as a subject, Cheryl as a subject, but they're doing the same exact thing, so it's easy to combine them into one sentence with a compound subject. Correct answer to this one was Bob and Cheryl hate peas. Oops, not ate, hate. I changed the meaning of the sentence there, didn't I? Okay, notice that our verb changed just a little bit, okay, because when it's singular, you would say she hates, but if it's plural, two subjects, they hate peas. So make sure you took that S off of hate. All right, number 2. Yanni is a foreign exchange student from Japan. Yanni is learning to speak English. This time it says we have to combine it using an appositive. If you remember, an appositive is a phrase that tells more about our subject, okay? So our subject here is Yanni. If you look, you should see where it tells us, something tells us a little more about Yanni. Well, who is Yanni? Here's our appositive phrase. Yanni is a foreign exchange student from Japan, okay? Then they also gave us a little more information. Yanni is learning to speak in English. So the way to combine this with an appositive, we would start with our subject, Yanni. Then we have to put commas around our appositive phrase that tell about Yanni. Yanni, comma, a foreign exchange student from Japan, comma, is learning to speak English. Notice we removed the word is, okay? Because we use that appositive phrase, we don't have to use is anymore, okay? So Yanni, comma, a foreign exchange student from Japan, comma, is learning to speak English. This phrase just tells us who Yanni is. We could take it out of the sentence and have a perfectly fine sentence. Cut it out. Yanni is learning to speak English, but we added it in as an appositive to tell more about Yanni. Make sure you have both commas. Okay, number 3. This is a fun one. You all, this is the point where you all need to go, oh, thank goodness we don't have to take a writing SOL anymore, because this is a lot like what you would see on those tests, and it's just horrible. So I'm going to show you how to do it, though. My dog loves to jump. My dog loves to play. My dog loves to eat. And the question says, which is the best way to combine the sentences above? The tricky part about these, boys and girls, is that there might be more than one way to combine these. You have to figure out the best way, okay? Well, just looking at it, you should realize they all have the same subject. My dog, my dog, my dog. And the dog's loving to do 3 different things, right? Loves to jump, loves to play, loves to eat. So the easiest thing to do would be to combine it with commas in a series. My dog loves to jump, comma, play, comma, and eat. I do see that down there. So that would be my choice. If you still don't get it, another way to do this, we used to always tell the kids to look at your differences, really highlight your differences. So if you're looking at your choices here, we have my. That's all the same. Dog, 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 dog. Loves, loves, he loves. So I would look at that and go, that's different. Do I need it? My dog, he loves to jump, play, and eat. Does that sound right? Do I need to repeat he? I don't think so. So I'm going to take my pencil and mark that whole thing out. I'm not even going to look at it again. It is wrong. Get rid of it. So then we're going to look at our next difference. We have loves, loves, loves to jump, comma. Everything's the same there. And then we have and And then this one has play. Oh, okay, this is different. My dog loves to jump, play, and eat. That sounds pretty good to me. I'm going to give it a dash and look at the other two. Okay, we have a he again. So I'm going to ask myself again, do I need that extra he? My dog loves to jump and he loves to play and eat. My dog loves to jump and play and eat. Well, again, do I really need to say he and my dog? Do I really need that in there twice? It makes sense without it. So I think I'm just going to get rid of it. So look at B. My dog loves to jump and play and eat. I want you to pause this and think for a second. What's weird about that? Like, what sounds wrong? Hopefully you noticed we've got too many ands. My dog loves to jump and play and eat. Do I need to say and twice? I don't think so. So the best choice here would be D. It's what we thought it was from the get-go. We have commas in a series. We don't have any extra he's and we don't have any extra ands. My dog loves to jump, play, and eat. Very simple, clean, best way to combine the sentences. Always make sure if you have choices that you read them all, because some of these would have worked. I mean, this would have worked up here, but it's not the best way to combine them. It's too wordy. All right, on the back. Again, paying close attention to your directions. A boy in Mrs. Gregory's class completed his homework. Gary completed his homework yesterday. We have to use an appositive. So again, we have a subject, Gary, and something that tells more about him. Well, he's a boy in Mrs. Gregory's class. So to combine that, we're just going to say Gary, comma, a boy in Mrs. Gregory's class, comma, completed his homework. We have an appositive phrase that tells more about Gary. We could cut it out and still have a sentence. Gary completed his homework makes perfect sense. You could have also reversed these where you said a boy in Mrs. Gregory's class, comma, Gary, comma, completed his homework. That would also be fine, but make sure you have your commas surrounding the extra added information. All right, number 11. John washed the dishes. He washed the dishes last night. This time the directions say we're going to use a key word. Well, it's actually really a key phrase. Our key phrase is last night. Just combine them. John washed the dishes last night. Very simple and clean. It makes sense. Number 12. Lathan fed the cats. Cade washed the dishes. This time the directions say use and to make a compound sentence. So we have to have two sentences using and to connect them. Should be pretty easy. Lathan fed the cats. Instead of the period, we use comma, conjunction, and Cade washed the dishes. Goes together just fine because that's their chores. Lathan fed the cats, comma, and Cade washed the dishes. It's a compound sentence. Number 13, the dog howled, the dog yipped, the dog barked at the moon. Well, I notice we have the dog, the dog, the dog doing three different things. And it says combine it using a series. So we're listing using commas. We have 1, 2, 3, so we will use 2 commas. The dog howled, comma, yipped, comma, and barked at the moon. That's it. Number 14. Jen ate pancakes. Henry ate them too. Use a compound subject. And that makes sense because we have them both doing the same thing. They are both eating pancakes. So we can combine it into a sentence with a compound subject. And it will make perfect sense. Jen, I misspelled your name. And Henry 8 pancakes. Very simple. Don't need all the extra words. 2 subjects doing the same thing. Last one, number 15. Pat studied. She got an A+ on the test. This time it says make a compound sentence. All right. So we've got to make 2 sentences. They do not tell us what conjunction to use, so we're going to have to figure that out because we know with a compound sentence, you have to use a comma and a conjunction. All right, so let's do this. Pat studied, comma, what conjunction should we use? She studied, she got an A+ on the test. Do those things go together or not? I would say they probably do. So there are 2 answers I think that would work here. I think we could say Pat studied and she got an A+ on the test. Or I'd like to think this is also kind of cause and effect because, studying can cause you to get A+. So I'm going to use a cause and effect word. Pat studied, comma, so she got an A+ on her test, period. Make sure you have the comma and the conjunction because it's 2 complete thoughts, 2 independent clauses. I like so as the conjunction. Okay, that is it. So make sure that you have corrected anything that you missed. Your checklist tells you need to keep these papers in your folder so that you can turn them in at the end of the week. So please put them in your centers folder. If you have any extra time, because I see we are at about 12 minutes here, you can sit quietly and read or get on Study Island while you wait for time to rotate. Good job.